Kyouya Hashiba returns to his parents' home in Nara after getting laid off by the video game company Succeed Soft and reflects on his past 10 years of life with regret while thinking about the works done by the prestigious circle called the Platinum Generation, whose members are about his age. He recalls his decision to attend a regular university instead of an arts college and his time as an intern at Succeed Soft, working under his boss Aiko Kawasegawa. Kyouya was a standout employee and was set to work with the Platinum Generation on an ambitious project, but one day the project was canceled and the team that worked on it was laid off. Kyouya goes to sleep, and after waking up, he finds himself 10 years in the past right after graduating from high school in the year 2006. This time, Kyouya decides to attend the arts college. After moving into the share house Kitayama, he immediately falls asleep, and when he wakes up, he finds Aki Shino sleeping next to him. Afterwards, the other residents, Nanako Kogure and Tsurayuki Rokwanji, come by and everybody introduces themselves. The four head out to the welcoming ceremony where Professor Misaki Kano warns the students that the chances of having a career in the field they came to the college to pursue are very low, and Kyouya meets up with his would-be boss, Aiko. 2 weeks later, after getting to know his classmates better, Kyouya attends the mixer and learns more about Aki. After returning home from the mixer, Kyouya figures out that he is living with the people who would go on to be the members of the Platinum Generation. Kano assigns the students to create a 3-minute short with time as the theme. After the lecture, Kyouya and Nanako begin working a part-time job at the same convenience store, while discussing ideas for their short. Using an idea Tsurayuki would go on to use in the future, Kyouya proposes that the four film at the train station. Having had that exact same idea locked away, Tsurayuki asks about how Kyouya came up with the idea in private, but Tsurayuki dismisses it as purely coincidence. After working on the project, Kyouya notices that the short goes over the allotted time limit and cuts need to be made, and Tsurayuki reluctantly agrees to the cuts. The four are recruited to join the Fine Arts Study Club, and Aki and Nanako agree to join on a trial basis despite Kyouya's objection. Kyouya reviews the script with Kano, and she tells him to be more audience-focused and relays the feedback to Tsurayuki as they modify the script together. On the day of the shooting, Aki discovers that Tsurayuki borrowed a standard camera instead of a video camera, and with no time to return it and get the right camera, Kyouya comes up with an idea. Kyouya's improvised idea is to use a series of camera stills shot at the station, and then tell a narrative utilizing Kyouya's expertise in editing to craft a proper story. Team Kitayama's short was well received at the screening, finishing third with Aiko's team taking first. Afterwards, Aiko asks Kano why Kitayama's short did not finish first, and it is revealed that Kano is an accomplished filmmaker and Aiko is her younger sister. Sometime later, Nanako takes Kyouya to a karaoke parlor where Kyouya learns about Nanako's musical background that came from her grandmother. Nanako then asks Kyouya to continue listening to her singing, giving him the idea to upload her singing online. Team Kitayama then has a party with the Fine Arts Club. Afterwards, as Kyouya and Aki walk home, Kyouya inspires Aki to do her best by praising her artwork. Team Kitayama completes their summer break assignment with a movie filmed on the beach with assistance from Aiko and the Fine Arts Club. While working on one of his part-time jobs with Aiko, Kyouya meets up with Kiko Tomioka, an alum who is the leader of the popular doujin circle Hallucigenia Soft. The films are screened to start the next semester, and despite the professional-level acting in the last film shown, Kitayama's film takes first place due to the superior technical aspects beyond the acting, as Kano explains to Nanako. Kitayama and the Fine Arts Club celebrates at a karaoke parlor, and when Nanako is asked to sing, Aiko questions her commitment to becoming a singer, causing Nanako to walk out dejected. The next day, Kyouya rejects Aiko's request for resignation from the team as she apologizes to Kyouya for her behavior that resulted from jealousy and asks him to reconcile with Nanako. Back in the Fine Arts Club room, Kiko drops by to ask Kyouya to work for her but declines. That night back at the share house, Kyouya plays a recording of Nanako's songs and reveals that she has trouble getting the right pitch as he convinces her to continue her pursuit of a singing career. After much preparation, the university festival begins. Kitayama and the Fine Arts Club put on a maid cafe with Kiko helping out. After spending 2 days working in the cafe, Kyouya and Aki walk together around the festival. At an art exhibit, Kyouya sees a painting by a familiar artist named Kazu Yamashina and passes out. At the end of the day, Kyouya wakes up with Aki, and as the two are about to kiss, Kyouya gets a call from Tsurayuki. Due to the planned secret guest having a schedule in conflict, Kyouya is tasked with finding a replacement singer as the concert's secret guest and asks Nanako to fill the role. Nanako runs away not confident in her singing, but Kyouya convinces her by presenting this as an opportunity. After the concert, Kyouya and Aki kiss each other with Nanako watching them unbeknownst to them. For several days after the festival, Tsuruyuki has been skipping classes and working almost non-stop at his part-time jobs, causing the share house residents to be concerned. After collapsing and resting up at a doctor's clinic, Tsuruyuki privately explains his situation to Kyouya, revealing that he comes from a family with a long line of doctors and wanting a career in script writing instead of being a doctor. He ran away from home and worked several jobs to pay for his own tuition. After hearing this, Kyouya decides to make a doujin game to be sold through Keiko's circle and use the profits to help pay for Tsuruyuki's tuition. Kyouya gets to work recruiting Kazuo to do backgrounds while working the share house residents, hard causing their performances in class to slip. Sometime later, Tsuruyuki gets a visit from his fiancée and childhood friend Sayuri Jishoji. Sayuri treats the share house resident to a hot pot dinner in hopes of convincing Tsuruyuki to return home to pursue a career as a doctor and marry her. Work continues on the doujin game with the share house residents struggling to keep up with the tight production schedule as school goes on winter break. The residents continue working hard through the break, and upon returning to school, Eiko warns Kyouya that his demanding and forceful leadership is starting to wear thin on the team. With the team exhausted after working long hours on the game, Kyouya tells everybody to rest up. That puts the game's production significantly behind schedule. Sometime later, Sayuri stops coming to the share house, and she has a private conversation with Kyouya about Tsuruyuki's career choice. Kyouya tells her to respect Tsuruyuki's decision that he made for himself as Sayuri returns home. With 1 month left before the game's launch date and the production behind schedule, Kyouya makes some major alterations to the game to meet the deadline that causes Tsuruyuki to get upset about the way the game's script is being produced, while compromising Aki's artwork. On the day of the deadline, with just hours to go, Kyouya finds out that the game is filled with bugs and the remaining time is spent on fixing them. After working through the night, the game called Harusora is completed in time to meet the deadline. The game sells well at the doujinshi convention, and the share house residents celebrate their success afterwards. Despite not having to worry about working for his tuition anymore, Tsuruyuki decides to drop out of school, having realized he was too dependent on Kyouya to have a fulfilling career. Kyouya is filled with regret again, and after speaking with Kiko, he wakes up 11 years in the future in the year 2018, where he is married to Aki and has a daughter named Maki Hashiba. Figuring out his situation in this timeline, Kyouya searches around and learns that he is now living in Noborito, working with Eiko for the prolific gaming company Attraction Point that specialized in free-to-play mobile games after graduating from college. The next day, Kyouya goes to work and meets his co-worker, Miki Morishita, who takes him to see Eiko. Eiko asks Kyouya to check up on the illustrator for the current project, Minori Seikawa, as progress has stalled. Minori explains that she has hit a mental block, and Kyouya points to her impressive collection of works to motivate her. After getting home from work, Kyouya learns that Aki stopped drawing years ago. The next day, Kyouya learns that Nanako retired from her career as an unsuccessful virtual idol, while Tsuruyuki never wrote any novels. After work, Kyouya walks out depressed and returns home dejected. Aki then comforts him and explains that she quit drawing because she stopped having fun, getting Kyouya to realize that his rush to get the game out quickly was at the root of the problems. 1 month since time leaping into the future, Kyouya is up to speed with his current work situation in this timeline. Meanwhile, Eiko's team struggles to keep up with the tight deadlines the company president has set for the upcoming game Mystic Clockwork. With Minori once again struggling to draw, Kyouya and Miki visit her and notifies them that she will not be able to meet the deadline. Back at the office, Kyouya is notified that the game's engine is full of errors that are unlikely to all be fixed in time, while Eiko pleads to the boss to delay the game's release to no avail. Kyouya then asks the president himself to delay the release using his experience from Harusora to justify his reasoning, but the president still refuses. 1 month later, Mystic Clockwork is released and is critically panned for the lack of Minori's artwork, the number of bugs, and the inconsistent gacha drop rates, resulting in the game's server going offline indefinitely for maintenance. Eiko is scolded by the president, and this time Kyouya decides to not intervene. Despite announcing her retirement, Nanako uploads a new song that gives Kyouya some inspiration about how to move forward. Kyouya informs the president that he is replacing the game's engine with one purchased with his team's budget from a reputable company after a thorough analysis. Additionally, he plans to compensate the players very generously as an apology for the game's bugs, as well as to give his team members 2 days off, among other fixes. Despite his skepticism, the president lets Kyouya carry out his plan. Kyouya visits Minori again and shows her some artwork from Harusora that motivate her to draw. With the fixes coming together, Kyouya is informed that Eiko is leaving for Okinawa. Thinking that Eiko is quitting the company, Kyouya rushes to the airport to meet her before she leaves. Kyouya tells Eiko that he has made others who work for him quit despite producing results, and Eiko criticizes him for lacking confidence and taking on too much burden from others, at the same time accidentally confesses her love to him. Eiko leaves for Okinawa, telling Kyouya that she is returning. After seeing her off and wishing to return to the old days, Kiko appears and Kyouya figures out that she is the one who sent him traveling through time. Kiko warns Kyouya that it is unlikely he will be as happy as he is right now if he goes back into the past, but Kyouya decides to go through with it, determined to make others happy. Before returning to the past, Kyouya spends one more night with his family. After seeing Maki's drawings and Minore's artwork in Mystic Clockwork, Eki is inspired to draw again. The next day, after bidding farewell to Aki and Maki, Kyouya meets up with Kiko, who compliments him for not using his knowledge of the future to hurt others, and Kyouya replies saying that he is dropping his high and mighty act. Kiko sends Kyouya 11 years into the past on the day after that Tsurayuki dropped out of school. This time, Kyouya accepts Tsurayuki's decision and adapts to his absence. A few months later, Nanako gets a new job to sing the theme song for a doujin game, with Kyouya prioritizing her independence, while Aki remains in a slump, having not drawn since the Harusora project. Kyouya then has a chance encounter with Minori, and after helping her get the inspiration needed to draw, Aki begins drawing again. Sometime later, Kyouya meets up with Tsurayuki again outside a theater after declaring that his remake is just beginning.